Hi class, welcome to week 3. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do more advanced pen tool work. So what I have open in front of me is Getty Images. Getty Images is a great source for beautiful images. You can see right here there's lovely images. I'm sure you've all used Google for a lot of images and they're fine. Some are better than others, but Google, it's whatever people throw up there. And Getty Images are professional photographers. When you work through here, you'll see the prices for using an image for a real project can be quite costly. But for grabbing something for a student project, it's fine. So I am going to start by looking up animals. For your project, you're going to do either an animal or a plant. And so I'm just doing a general search for animals, but you can search for your favorite kind of animal. So some parameters in looking for an image, you want to see pretty much the whole animal. If you were to do one of these sea lions here, they're overlapping each other and the water's in the way, and it's a little funky to try to trace. We're going to trace the images. They're a resource image to literally trace over. This sea turtle is perfect. The bird is lovely. I'd include a little bit of that branch. This guy over here is quite handsome. He would be great. This kitty cat has a lot of fur and it's cropped, so that just wouldn't work. The bear has a lot of fur too, but when I look at it, I sort of see shapes in that fur, so he's, if possible, a little bit more work, but could always work. This collage wouldn't work. It feels too photoshopped and surreal. You want something that looks real. The cow wouldn't work because it's too cropped, and that hand's in front of the mouth there. These birds, they're cropped at the bottom, so that could work fine. And so anyway, the snake would work if you included the log. Again, furry creatures are hard, cropped creatures are hard. But this guy, I'm going to show you later, I thought he was beautiful and I wanted to try. He's got all that fur around him, and I was really curious how that would work. So I did a little bit of an experiment, and it could work, but it's such a lovely photograph. It seems, why would you illustrate that when it would take hours? But what I decided to use was this bug. I think he's a very beautiful bug. So you saw I just clicked on it to make it bigger. And then while I'm in here, when I hover over it, you see there's this option to make it even bigger. So I am going to click that. You want to get the image as large as you can on your screen because you're going to drag that to your desktop to trace from, and you want to have as many pixels. So the larger the image, the more pixels you'll have in your resolution. So I am just going to drag and drop on my desktop. Some sources like this, they protect the images so you can't just go and drag them. So if you got as large as you can on your screen and then made a screenshot, generally that works as well. Okay, so I am going to take this image and close out of here for now. And this image does have something in front of it, but I'm going to draw that object in front of it. So here I am in Illustrator, and I am going to, I just create an 8.5 by 11 size document. It doesn't matter what size your document is for this project. And I am going to go under File. I'm going to go to the word Place. Taking a little while, watching the rainbow wheel go around. So I actually have this image already saved in a place on my computer for this particular class. So I am going to place him there and drag and drop that in there. Okay, so I'm going to trace some of this flower too. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you see more of him and less of the flower. Okay, so one of the things that I like to do is really to utilize layers to help manage the tracing of this project. So I have open layers already, and so I can add a new layer by clicking new layer up here, or I can click this little plus box and add a new layer. And then this layer right here, I'm going to lock. The space next to the eyeball, I just click and it locks that layer. So if I'm doing anything, I don't accidentally move that picture. And then I click on that top layer, and that's where I'm going to do my drawing. Okay, so you see here the preset is a solid white line, solid white background and a black line. So if I take my pen tool and I draw a shape, and I'm trying to trace that, you see the way it's got that white fill. You don't want that. So you can just pop over here and go and get rid of that fill. And then that outline, you can also change it to something that's got a nice contrast. So I'm working on this green bugs, so a magenta would work nicely to see my line. Actually, the line here is actually red too, the line that I'm working with, because it follows the layer. The tools turn into the color of that layer. Let me unlock this for a minute. So if I click on, whoops, if I click on the bottom layer here and I were to draw, notice the way my line is blue. So that helps you to navigate the layers too, because it can be confusing having so many layers open on top of each other. So it helps you to manage them. Okay, so I'm going back to locking that layer, going back up here. My tool is now empty middle and a pink outline. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm on layer 2. And one of the things that you want to do when you're going to trace an object is, I like to work from the outside perimeter and fill that, because you're going to be building on top of. Each time you draw a new shape, it goes on top of, on top of, on top of. And one thing you want to be careful of, let me just draw an example. So I've got this pen tool here. So if I draw this shape here, right, and I get that shape the way I like it, and then I go and I draw this shape in here, where do I meet that line? So if I go in underneath it, then this shape can become the background and this one can go in front of it. So now I've got these shapes, but let me unclick the background here, because the way I like to grab color is I grab that shape, I grab the eyedropper tool here. Okay, it looks like an eyedropper. Again, it's got multiple tools in there, so it's under the measuring tool if you don't see the eyedropper. So I'm going to go and I'm going to select that green, and notice it fills in that green. I'm going to unclick that shape, click this shape, go to the eyedropper and pick this lighter green. And so then I will take that shape, arrange, and bring to the front. So there I've got these two shapes overlapping. But if I didn't draw that shape and plan that it was going to overlap, if I started to try to draw around it, and I have all these different pieces that are like a puzzle, they need to fit together just perfectly or overlap. And so you can see how if you have all these pieces and you're trying to stack which one overlaps the next one, it can be challenging. So this is a management issue as well as a drawing issue. So again, I'm going to go and lock that bottom layer. I'm going to go on the top here, and I am going to start by drawing the outline of this shape. I'm going to go a little quick and dirty. I can fix it later, but also I don't want to be labor intensive drawing. While you guys are watching these videos, it can be kind of mesmerizing, and sometimes I get very caught up in it myself, getting the line just right, but there's always time to fix it in the end. So you see, one of the things I've done here is I accidentally changed the outline color. So let me just jump back here and I'm going to switch that, and I'm going to grab magenta for here, okay? So I'm going in here to draw the outline of this shape. And I'm going to go behind this flower, so it's okay if I make it kind of crazy there. So there is my shape. And if I reverse this and fill, so it's a big blob, but there's actually these openings here, and I'm going to have to work with those. So I'm going to go and take my pen tool next, and I'm going to draw those areas, and I'm going to come over here and draw this area over here. Okay, so now again, the first layer I drew becomes the back, and everything I put over top goes in order. So the most recent thing is on top. So what I'm going to do is grab these two shapes, and I'm holding down the Shift key and grabbing these two shapes, and then I'm going to grab the background as well. And what I'm going to do is I am going to create sort of a donut hole in the shape. So those little shapes that I just made, if you think of those as the donut holes, so this bug is a big giant donut pile of dough, and you got to punch those holes in to make your donuts. So I'm going to go up to Object, and it's called Compound Path, okay? So this is an object that I'm working on, Compound Path, and I hit the word Make, okay? It just made it, but you guys can't see anything, you can't tell. So what I do is I go select my bug, and I fill it, and ta-da! You can see that it has punctured the donut holes in this shape. Okay, so that's one of the things I like to do, is put that in the put the background shape in to begin with. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is working with this tool, working in lines versus closed shapes. So this is my pen tool. I just grabbed it before, and I didn't really point it out, but you've been working on it a little bit. So here's our pen tool, not the curvature tool. We're working on the straight up pen tool. I'm going to click that and draw a line and come back. See that little tiny circle? Here we go. Here. That little tiny circle that appears underneath the pen, right underneath it. That is showing that it's closed. If I move over here, it disappears. If I land on it, it fills in. That is what I need to see in order to make a closed shape. So that the way I did the, I'm going to do it again, the donut hole. So if I want to put a donut hole in here, both these shapes need to be closed shapes. And if they're not, then it won't work. So I can go again, Object, Compound Path, Make, and there's my donut hole. Okay, sometimes you might want to be drawing lines though. So this white line here, I'm going to draw that white line now. So I'm going to take my pen, and I'm going to draw the shape of that white line. Try to get the nuances there. Oops, again, I goofed up. There we go. And then when I get to the end, this wants to keep following me everywhere, okay? So to make it end, you hit the P button, and it disappears. So again, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this green line here. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go up. And then see the way it gets a little bit thicker there? I'm going to come up, and I'm going to kind of go around in there. And then I need to get rid of that. I just hit P, and it's gone. Okay, so that's good for now.